Hi guys, I know it's been a long time since I did a video, but this is Marlika from My Three Seeds of Joy. Recently we purchased a 3D printer, and so I thought I would come on and do a quick video on I purchased a new printer, 3D printer, now what? When we first got the 3D printer, I was very excited, so was my family, about receiving it. But when we got it, it was a bit overwhelming because it did all these awesome things, but we didn't know how to do them. So I thought I would make this video to help maybe someone by giving them some of the things that I've learned and researched since we've had it. So right now on the screen is a couple, well, two of my boys. Well, really, everybody's on the screen except me and my husband. But these were a few of the items that we made with the 3D printer so far. So my son was able to do some Lego armor. So he made a sword and a helmet. And then my other son made Xbox 360 wall hangers. I made a rotary tool stand and the tool bit stand. And we also own a makey, so I was able to make a case for it to go in. And then we are card players, so I was storing my cards in soap containers, which was they would pop open. So I designed one of the card containers, and the other one I downloaded. So like I said, we're just really basically right now just getting acquainted with the machine. The things that you see on the screen right now, besides the phase 10 box, which is not showing, were already files that are called STL files that we got off of Thingiverse. And what Thingiverse is, it's a website for 3D makers to share their files with other makers or to get inspired. I forgot to mention that we have a DaVinci 1.1 3D printer from XYZ Printing. So on the screen right now is the software that comes with your printer if you have a DaVinci printer. So right now I'm going to go and download a file. Okay, so this is a holder, my rotary tool holder. So right now I'm just going to give you like an overview of what's in this window right now. Okay, up here at the top left, you have the import button, the export button, the save button, the print button, the settings button, and then the help about button. Okay, then right here you have the view button, which I will click. And what this does, it allows you to see your 3D print in different angles. So if I click the top one, I'm looking down. If I click the next one, I'm looking from the bottom, looking from the front, looking from the back, and looking from the left side, then the right side. Okay, so that's what this button does, the view button. The next button is the move button. And when I click the move button, you have your axis. So you have your X, Y, and Z. So if I move the X button, you see it's moving from front to back. Okay, and if I move the Y button, it moves from left to right. Now the Z button will move up the axle. So if I move it, you see it's lifting off the platform. Okay, And then you have land. So if I was up like this, I can push land and it falls down. And then you also have the reset button. So that's all under the move function. Okay, the next function is the rotate. So I'm going to click that. And again, we have the X, Y, and Z. So right now, I'm going to use my mouse and I'm going to change the direction by holding the right button. I'm going to change so you guys can see what I'm doing here with the rotate button. So when I click the rotate button, like I said again, we have the X, Y, and Z. So it's the degrees that it can move. So if I click here, it moved 83 degrees. If I clicked here, it moved 203 degrees in the direction of the X axis. Okay, so let me reset that. Now I'm going to do the Y. So you can see how it's moving. So depending on what you're printing, sometimes you may want to print an item with supports or without supports, and this way you're able to utilize and move your item around so that you can get your best print. So now I'm going to do the Z, and again it should lift. No, on this one it's just going to turn. Okay, see that? Okay, so let me hit reset. Put the screen back so you can see. Okay, next one is scale. So again, we are in the menu again, and this time these units are set up in millimeters. Okay, so right now the uniform button is on, which means if I select this, okay, hold on, hit it again. If I not select it, but if I move this, you see the scale changes, but they're all changing in uniform. Okay, because the uniform button is on. You also can use the slider here without using the buttons above and to get the same effect. Okay, or down here it says you can scale up in millimeters to inches, or you can scale down to inches to millimeters. You will find that using STL files that they are set up in millimeters. Every now and then someone will save a file in inches, and when you import it inside of the XYZware, you'll find out that the measurements are off. Most of the time, if you change it to millimeters, where it says scale down inches to millimeters, you will get the correct size. Okay, so that one was in the scale button. Okay, so next, to click this again, the next one is the information button. Okay, so basically it gives you the dimensions, the position, and the size of the item, the 3D item. It gives you the volume, the file format, which I said is a .stl, and it gives you the file name. Okay, and then this one is garbage. Okay, so now I have this print right here ready to go, and you see this little thing right here in the front. That's letting me know this is the front of my machine. Okay, so right now you see the little white box around the STL file. That means that it's selected. So now I'm gonna go up here to print button. Okay, so now we have the print menu up, and within this print menu you have all of your settings, your regular settings and your advanced settings. So what I'm going to do is walk you through what each one of these things mean. Okay, so right here we have quality. Quality is how do you want your product to print out? Do you want it to print out normal, good, or excellent? So if you say good, it may be less time. If you say excellent, it may take a longer time to print, and the quality will be different. Okay, Then right here you have materials, and mine says 1 because on the 1.1 that I have, or the 1.0, it only has one extruder and it only accepts one filament. Okay, some other printers have dual, where they can fit two. They have two filaments that they can install into their printer. But for mine, that's why it says material 1. Mine only has one material. Okay, so right now it says ABS, and when I click down, these are the type of filaments that I'm able to buy for this particular printer that I have. I can buy ABS, PLA, and flexible. Okay, flexible kind of, it gives you, the word flexible lets you know basically that it's a flexible material. So a lot of times when you first get this and you're not aware, you want to know what's the difference between ABS and the PLA. Well, what I found out is the ABS needs to be in a closed environment on a heated bed. Okay, so if you have what I have, the DaVinci, you're able to use ABS because ABS, it has a heated bed built into the system itself. Okay, so it has to have a heated bed and a closed quarters for it to work right. Okay, then the next thing is the PLA. PLA is it doesn't need to be covered, and it can be in a drafty area, whereas ABS cannot be in a drafty area. It kind of needs to stay at the temperature that it is in order for it to do what it needs to do. So when you look at it, you just say ABS has to be closed, and a closed heated, and then the PLA can be open. Is used by more makers in an open space. So a lot of times when you see people using those big CNC printers, or the different ones that's out on the market, and they're so big that they're not in a closure, they're using a PLA or other type of filament. Now, this printer only accepts these three, but depending on the printer that you have, it may accept other type of materials. Okay, all right, so the next thing over here, to print. So these are the different printers that DaVinci has. Okay, so if you have a junior, then you have to select the junior setting, and vice versa. If you have what I have, the 1.0, then you select the top one. Okay, so over here we have RAF, brim, supports, and auto repair. Since I've had my machine, I left it on auto repair. I don't know. I figured if it's going to auto fix it, I'm going to let it do it. So when I saw this, I said, okay, what in the world does a RAF mean? What does a brim mean? And what does supports mean? So supports are, I'll give you an example. Right here on this picture, I printed this test tube holder, and if you can tell, these little items that's laying down, I popped them out of these holes. So these were supports that were built into, when the 3D printer printed this file, it added these things inside the holes because they were void areas, and the support kept them around and kept that area from sagging or doing whatever. Okay, let me see, I think I have another picture. Okay, so right here I made some hooks, and when you look at this picture, this first one right here, where no support was given, you see how that hangs over? So you have to remember that a 3D printer prints from the bottom up. Okay, so when it got to about this area and it had to come over here, from here to here, it didn't have anything to lay on. And so that's why this area right here looks very raggedy. Okay. So as it came over, the plastic cooled and it left this over here. So this is a prime example of no support. The next picture is with support. Okay. So these little cells that you see right here in the middle, they're not, you have a choice of picking light, heavy, or medium. Let me see, what is it? Look at my notes. Yeah, you have a choice of picking I think it's light, well, low, high, or 1, 2, and 3. I'll put it like that. Support. So this was a 1. Okay, so I wanted light support. So then the next picture shows where I removed the support. Very easy to clip it out of there. Just pop it out. Okay, I could have came in with a sander, but I didn't. So you can still see a little bit of the rough edges, but for what I was using it for, it served its purpose. Okay, so let's go back to the software. So that's what supports are. Okay, now a brim, what it does, it comes down to the bottom of your 3D print, and it prints like a hat brim. Okay, you know how it's not flat, but it has like a curve to it. So the brim is actually a brim on your 3D print. Now a raft is just like you put a plain piece of paper under it. Okay, sometimes when you print animals or little small things, you need a place for the filament to stick. Okay, so you will put a raft there to help the filament stick to something. Okay, so then the next thing you have is the advanced setting. The advanced setting, you have the 3D density, you have the shells, you have the layer height, and the speed. Okay, so the density right here, you have from hollow all the way up to solid 90%. Okay, now each machine is different, because once you start learning your machine and you go on different websites, you'll see that people will say they feel theirs at 70% or they feel theirs at 80%. Okay, but if you look at what my printer is able to do, it goes all the way to 50 and then it skips to 90. Okay, so we have 3D density right here, and it's also called percent infill. And like I said before, it goes from 10 to 90 on this particular printer. So what I did was, because we are a homeschooling family and I want my boys to learn the fundamentals, I went on Thingiverse and downloaded a file and remixed it for what my printer was able to do, because the file that I wanted to do, my printer didn't do all of, I think they had like 14 densities, and ours only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 9. So right now when you see hollow is here. This is nothing. Okay, the next one would be 5%. So this is what it looks like in the inside of your print when it's on 5%, 10%, 15%, 20%, 25%, 30%, 50%, and 90%. Okay, but like I said, different printers have different more expensive printers can do more. So this is kind of like your entry level printer. So it only does so much. So this will be able to give my boys a visual on what happens on the inside of these prints. Okay, so the next thing over here is the shells. Right now it says normal. Well, it says it goes in the order of thin, normal, and then thick. So right here on the bottom, the shell is what goes just around the outside, okay? So this is really thin here. And then it's a little, which they consider this normal. So mostly when you print by using the standard settings, it's going to print a normal shell. And then this one is thick. But like I said, in other printers, the shells can have, this one has 3 shells, okay? On other printers, this whole area can be closed up just like this right here on the shell thing, okay? So that's what the DaVinci can do, okay? So what's next? Layer height, okay? Layer height, you have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. So basically, 1 millimeter, 2 millimeters, 3 millimeters, 4, okay? So what I found out is 1 millimeter, it'll just print 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers, 4 layers, that type of thing, okay? So then speed, okay? You have slow, standard, and fast. Okay, some things you want your printer to take time. Some things, if you really don't care, you're not selling it, or it's not going to be a display. It's actually something that's just a pencil holder or something. It doesn't necessarily have to be. It can be printed fast. Okay, so that's that area. Now we get into, from up here, it gives you more detail down in the support, rafts, and brim, okay? So if I clicked on supports, remember I told you before from the other picture, I added the supports and I couldn't think of how it was labeled, but it's labeled low, medium, and high. So when you saw on my piece, I used the low setting, okay? Alrighty. So the next thing is the raft. Same thing when I told you about a raft. Basically, it just prints us a thin layer, kind of like this orange paper on this side, just a sheet of paper under your print. Okay. Then the brim, like I said, on a hat, do you want your brim? Do you want a big brim or you want a little brim? So if you click this one, you can change how big you want your brim. Okay. Sorry, I don't have I haven't printed anything utilizing that yet, so I don't have a sample to show you. Okay, so again here it says extruder 1, and I can't click it and make it change because our printer only has 1 extruder. Okay, the next tab is profiles. You can sign in to XYZ Printing, and you can log in. I'm not for sure. I think you can kind of save files, or it's easier to download files from the site, or vice versa. I'm not familiar with that yet. Okay, so that's basically the overview. And then once you have all of this information selected, you're just going to push the print button. Okay, let's see. It may not work because I'm not connected to, I'm in my office, so I'm not, oh, here it's doing it. But it's saying not set up yet. But you'll get the same type of thing that you see going across the screen right now, except it'll be saying slicing. Okay. So let me close that. Okay, so basically that's the software, you know. And like I said, I just wanted to explain it a little better because when you see all those different functions and advanced functions, it can be a little overwhelming to not understand what they mean. And also I want to show down here the same like information, the information tab over there on the side is right down here at the bottom. Okay. And then this little eye here, when you're printing something, you can click that and it'll give you the time for the printer. So say if your printer was across the room or in an area, you can click this and it'll give you the up-to-date, real-time reporting. But I did find out that it's not necessarily real-time reporting. Okay, so let's see. Anything else here? Okay, another thing. If you click to the side, you notice that the options change. Only thing you got up here is the view button. Then over here, I forgot to point out this plus and minus. So if you push the plus, it just zooms in and zooms out. Okay. So now let me close this out. Okay, it's probably ask me. Okay, so close this one out, minimize this one. Okay, so now we're talking software or websites. Okay, so this is Thingiverse. Okay, and you can see on here, these are the different files that people share that you can download. Okay, and up here at the top, that's the web address right there, thingiverse.com. Okay, the next one is Tinkercad. I really love Tinkercad. It's easy, it's user friendly, so I would suggest that you start out here when you want to start designing or modifying STL files. Okay, and both of these, Thingiverse and Tinkercad, are free accounts. Okay, the next one is SketchUp. I fooled around with this just a little bit, but it's really kind of it's kind of in depth. So one day I'll probably get back to it. Okay, the next thing is, this is software, Blender. Okay, Blender allows you to do a lot of manipulating to files and creating STL files. So it's a good software to have and learn. I have not ventured into this area yet, but I do plan to. Okay, the next one is Inkscape. Okay, Inkscape is great because you can use this software, which is free also, but make sure that you download it from Inkscape.org. Okay, and not from the internet and get some malware or something. Okay, but Inkscape is pretty good because it allows you to make designs simple. It allows you to make designs for free if you don't have Photoshop or other photo editing software. Okay, and then it's Adobe Photoshop. You're also able to, it has 3D functions built into it too. So if you have that, you can mess around with 3D files in there. You can make then you have the online SVG image converter. Okay, and this is pretty cool because you can basically draw an image onto a piece of paper and turn it into a 3D file by saving it as a PNG file, bringing it to this software, choose the file, come down here, and I think it's like 1,000 pixels times 1,000 pixels. Then you select the mono, and then I think it's 1,000 DPI, and you press convert, and it'll give you a file that you can pull into Tinkercad to turn into a 3D print. Okay, so that's the software, and it's lots more software out there. Like I said, we're new to this, so I don't know all the software yet, but like I said, I really like Tinkercad. Okay, and all of these things you can look on YouTube and find a lot of videos to go with them to understand. And kind of like right here is showing you how the software works. Okay, so let's leave out of here and go back to my pictures. Okay, so under my printer, I have it sitting on like an office cabinet. Okay, I have my glue sticks, my caliper, I have my spatula and my brush that came with the my wire brush that came with the machine, and the little pen to clean out the extruder. Over here on the side, I have paper towel because you wet this to clean off the platform. Okay, and then I have a soft cloth here when I need to just wipe it or dry it off. Now back here in the back is another thing. I found out that you can buy just regular white or natural filament, and you can color it with fingernail polish, or you can color it with acrylic paints. You can color it with Sharpies. So you just have to play around. So I wouldn't necessarily go out for the first time and buy red or blue. I would just go ahead and buy the natural because you can use it for different items and just paint it. Okay. Let's see the next picture. Okay, we saw that one. Okay, so then again, this is what I was explaining about these pieces right here, all popped out of here. Okay, those were the supports that was in there to keep this stable. Now, all I have to do now is come in with the some sandpaper and just clean up those edges some, which is not a problem. Okay, so I wonder, okay, so right here on the side, you see this little white line of filament that's plastic that's laying on the bed? That is called a skirt. Okay, and depending on the printer, some print over here on the side like the Da Vinci, some will print around whatever you're printing, but what it does, it just basically calibrates the or cleans and get the extruder ready so that when it starts to do the project that it's clean and it has a nice flow coming out of it. Okay, also don't be scared to get to know your printer, okay? Because once you start using it, you're going to start knowing when your printer is going bad. Well, when your print is going bad. I've had many prints go bad so far being a newbie. And you can hear it, meaning the sound is different, okay? And a lot of that stems from me, for one, not putting glue over here where this first area prints, okay? And so what happens is the machine starts over here and then it goes over to wherever it's printing at, and if you don't put glue over here, this little skirt piece will come over here and it'll end up going into your print, which sometimes you can catch it and fix it, but a lot of times it can mess it up. Okay, and a lot of times you have to use that brush to clean off the extruder, okay, because sometimes you can get some plastic still hanging the wrong way. And luckily now, as I hear, this printer, which I've used this function a lot, has a pause feature. Okay, so when you see that your filament is not coming out right, or you see something on the bed that shouldn't be there, you can always hit the button and pause it, okay, and go in there and try to make corrections so you won't ruin your whole project. Another thing is, don't try to print too many things at one time, okay? Because if one print messes up, then the other print is messed up too, because if you have to cancel the print job, it can't go back and just pick up where it left off with the with the one that was working, okay? You also want to keep this area nice and clean. Over here, this little white box over here, that's where your extruder goes, and there's some little tabs over here that's supposed to clean the extruder, but a lot of times it'll still be some pieces hanging off, and that's where you need to go over there and make sure you use your wire brush and clean that off. Okay, you just stick the little wire brush under there and wipe it a few times, and that's all you need. Okay, the next thing too I want to talk about concerning this bed area is we use glue sticks, okay? But depending on you, and a lot of people use a lot of different products. Some people use hairspray, some people use blue tape. But for us, I've just been trying to get the hang of using the glue. Now, like I said, right here, this area, I didn't have enough glue. So my corners kind of bend upward because I didn't have enough glue down on the bed for it to stick well. So you're going to run across that problem too from time to time. Okay, let's see. So here's what the bed looks like when I took the test tube thing out. I thought I had enough glue down there, but evidently it just wasn't a good hole for it. And then, like I said, over here is that skirt piece I was telling you about. Okay. And then to get this off, basically, you just need to wet some paper towel, let it sit on there for a few minutes, and you come over it with your scraper, and the glue normally comes up. You might have to do it a couple times depending on how much glue you have put down. Okay, so here are the tools that we use. We have the wire brush that came with the machine, the scraper that came with the machine, and we did get glue with the machine, a tube of glue. Okay, this is the cloth, and then we brought a caliper so we can make our own measurements of things. Okay, that's a good tool to have because it measures in millimeters and it measures in inches, but you really need that part for if when you start designing you want to be able to know what the millimeters are for the size that you're trying to get. Okay, so in closing, this is my son. This is our printer here. He's holding the first when you first get your printer, they give you a demo piece, and this is the demo piece that he printed. And so far we're happy with our purchase, and I hope that this video has been helpful. And oh, it is one more thing. Let's see, I don't think I put them on here, but what another good thing is to look online for cheat sheets for the keyboard, for your keyboard. So that way, when you're manipulating these different software, whether it's Photoshop, Inkscape, or Tinkercad, or whatever software you're using, it's nice to know which buttons to make things quicker, make things happen quicker. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.